yourself to me already. Girl, you make me hit, I guess. Yeah. So I'm not with nobody.
Alright, y'all. So we haven't been posting in I don't even know how long, like maybe a couple months or something.
Since he's been born, like a month or so.
Yeah, if you watch our videos or if you know us, then you know that we had a kid. He's about 3 months old now. On what day would that be?
The 30th, Saturday.
Oh, so this Saturday, our son Xavier will be 3 months.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been 3 months.
Yeah, I know it's been a long time already. We were trying to post consistently. We have gotten, to me, a good amount of views for making our first like couple videos and stuff. I did make another channel for myself. I'll put that down below or on the screen or whatever. But yeah, we want to keep making videos and stuff.
Yeah, and for this video, we just want to like basically tell like our whole pregnancy from like the start to finish, because it was definitely a crazy experience. I don't think like it was normal at all. At least like for me, like I've never heard of what we went through. And then plus like with the NICU situation, like we just kind of want to like tell our side and like what happened basically.
Yeah, because when she was pregnant, she was watching a lot of stuff like that, so we just want to give back. And I guess, have you guys prepared for anything, or you know, like
I've had girls reach out to me when I was pregnant and like asking me questions, and then afterwards asking me questions about how like delivery went and stuff like that. So I just want to like make a whole video for whoever wants to see it and hear my side and like what happened. And yeah, so we'll just get into it.
So
now.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so starting off with like how we found out. So basically, like, I had lost my period. I had, like, not started my period for a couple days, and I wasn't really experiencing anything, like, crazy. Like, I experienced, like, a little bit of cramping, and then, like, you know, didn't have my period, and then I was telling Nate about it, and I was telling him to go get the test or whatever, but then I was like, oh, no, it's fine, like, I'm not pregnant, and then he ended up going to get the test anyways, and then I took it by myself because I didn't think anything of it, you know, and then I saw the test and I was like, oh my gosh.
Alright, so from my point of view,
it was crazy. I couldn't believe it.
I had my friend over who is now an uncle.
Yeah, Uncle Steven.
I had a friend over. She told me to come in the room, and I can't remember if she was crying or not. But
no, I was just, not at that point. I was just like so shocked.
Her face was like in awe, and then what did you tell me?
I didn't say anything. I just handed it to you.
She had it, and she was like, I forget, but the reaction, I thought she was playing with me because she joked so much, and she didn't hand it to me yet, but I thought she was joking because like her face and everything. I was like, Joe, just give me it, like just give me it. She's like, Nate, no, and I was like, bro, like stop playing, give me it. Like I didn't believe her at all, and I looked at it and I was like,
well, you probably didn't really know what it meant too, because like I feel like guys don't really know what, like, 2 lines, like, anything.
No, I knew. I read it. I seen it. It says it right there. I knew it.
No, it didn't say pregnant. That was not the first one that we...
I'm saying the lines. It tells you what to do.
Like, oh, okay, yeah, on the side.
So I knew, and I was like, I don't know. I wasn't, like, scared. But
no, you were, like, completely calm. Like, you were calming me down, because then that's when I started freaking out. Anyway, go.
But so basically, that's how we found out. Came in the room. She was really overwhelmed and stuff, and I was trying to calm her down, and we obviously went with it and we stuck through it, and we are happy that we made that decision. So the next
and then I called my sister, and then my best friend Kaylin, she came over, and we were all sitting in this room. This is now his room, but we were all sitting in this room and we were just talking about like life and like what was about to happen. And that day was October 16th at like 11 o'clock. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. Okay, so then, like, shortly after that, I started, like, symptoms just, like, hit me, like, crazy. I think I was around, like, 4 weeks when I found out. So, like, 6 weeks when, is when, like, my first trimester, like, symptoms started going crazy. I was super, super sick. I was in the hospital, like, twice, I think. I went to the hospital twice for, like, twice or, I don't know, something like that. And I wasn't eating. I was throwing up. I lost, like, 10 pounds in the first, like, start of the pregnancy, and then obviously I gained that back. But yeah, that was just, what did you think about that?
It was like really scary because she was super, super sick. like
I thought I
super
was
sick.
having twins because like my symptoms were so crazy that I was like, okay, maybe there's twins. Like, and then plus the test, like I don't know if this is a thing, but like the test was so dark, and I was like, bro, like we're having twins. I really was so
Shit,
scared.
I didn't know. I didn't think anything of that. I was just scared because she was like what we thought like deathly sick at the time.
I was so sick. So then like at that point I was still working at Carrabba's. That's where I used to work like for a couple years, and I was out of work for 2 weeks because I was so sick. And yeah, that was basically that. Then the second trimester came. I was starting to feel better. My bump was starting to come like through, and then I was having really bad back pain. I just remember that being horrible. But it wasn't anything like super crazy at that point. I feel like the first trimester was definitely the hardest. And then the third trimester came. I was still throwing up like here and there. It wasn't like
Yeah,
as
that was
bad.
bad though. When I don't
The
think
throwing
you
up
went
was
into detail enough.
okay. So the first trimester was like super bad. Like that's all I can say. Like
The throwing up though was like
yeah,
crazy.
I remember I threw up like 8 times in one day, and I only had eaten like popsicles and like soup or something.
Alright, somebody woke up from their nap, so they decided to join us.
For basically all of the scents were like really bad for me. Like every time I would smell something, it would like literally cause me to throw up.
Your cravings were
Oh yeah.
like,
They weren't that bad though.
no, they were like all over the place, or like at night, like in the middle of the night when we can't get steak. She wants like steak and stuff. I don't know.
Oh yeah, and then I was anemic too, so I had to go get like iron IVs done, and that really helped a lot. But
Yeah.
that was really bad because I was so like just
Drained and
drained. I had no energy ever. Like you already don't have energy when you're pregnant, so like that on top of it, like I just had no energy. And he was huge too, so like me walking around with him was just horrible. It was just a bad time for me.
Yeah.
But okay, what's next? Okay, so then the third trimester came, and my biggest symptoms that I wrote down was still throwing up a little bit. My back pain was like horrible, and I don't know if you've ever heard of lightning crotch, but that was so bad for me. Like if you're pregnant and you had it, like you just know like what it feels like. I can't really describe it other than it feels like lightning in your crotch because the baby's like pressuring down there. And then he started getting so big to where it was like every time he would kick, it would just hurt. Like, it was just horrible. He was hurting me like all the time. Sleeping was just never happening for me. It was just a bad time. So moving on to like labor and delivery. So I had my 41 week appointment.
Mm-hmm.
So I was 41 weeks, and I went to the OB, and they basically said that I was like 1 centimeter dilated, but nothing was really happening or going on. So then they hooked me up to, I forget what it's called, but it's like they put this thing around your belly, and they basically like track your contractions and like make sure everything's going good and whatever. And like I guess he wasn't moving a lot or something, so they were a little concerned about that. And she told me it was like something like where after a while like you want to get induced because your placenta starts to die, and so they were a little concerned about that. And then so we went to the room, and like she basically just checked me for like dilation, and she was like, basically she said like, oh, I'm getting the vibe that you're in pre-labor or something. And I was like, okay. So she sent us to the hospital. Good thing we already had our bags packed, so we just literally just went right there.
And that sometimes on the appointments we would skip bringing our bags because we just didn't think it would happen. And this one I really didn't want to pack or bring a bag, and we got there and then they told us to go to the hospital. So.
Yeah, good thing we brought everything because then we would have had to come all the way back over here. And
yeah.
So then we stopped at Chick-fil-A because I knew I wasn't going to be able to eat, like during all that happening. So then we went to the baby place. That's where I gave birth in St. Pete, and they checked me in, and they were kind of like wondering if they were gonna like induce me that night or whatever. And thank God they did. I was so pregnant and so miserable. I was just so ready to give birth, but I was also really scared, obviously. Oh no, it's okay.
What else?
So then we went in, they kind of just did an ultrasound on me to make sure he was okay. They gave me the ultrasound and they basically checked him to make sure he was okay. But then the like nurse came in and she's like, oh, you're getting induced today, blah, blah, whatever. So then they moved me into the delivery room and they put the, I'm sorry, I don't really know like all the terms or anything, but they put like the, what is it called? The like, I forget, it's something that they put up you to like kind of like, no. It's like what they do before Pitocin. So they put it up there. That really hurt. And then, you know, things were progressing. And then my contractions started getting really, really bad. Little did I know that it was going to get like super bad. Like nothing compared to what I was feeling. And I immediately got the epidural, which was like just really stupid on my part. I shouldn't have done that. Because it like definitely wore off by the time I like pushed.
So yeah, that's a tip. Don't get it too early.
Yeah, I would wait, like personally, like my next baby, I'm definitely gonna, I mean, if I don't have to get a C-section, we'll get into that later, but if I don't have to get a C-section and I can like deliver vaginally again, I'm definitely gonna wait for the epidural because like not having an epidural or like your epidural wearing off while you're pushing is like horrible. But anyways, so what happened after that? So yeah, I got the epidural, and then things were fine, but I still felt like my contractions, which was like kind of weird. And I was like, maybe this isn't normal. I don't know, but it wasn't as bad, but like it definitely, I still felt them. It wasn't like what everyone explains, like that, like, oh, like you feel nothing. Like I still could like feel my legs and like kind of lift one of my legs up, so that's how I knew like my thing wasn't right. But obviously I don't know things because it's my first time. And then it was like the next morning, I hadn't really slept. He slept a little bit on like the little thing on the ground. Okay, so then the next morning my water broke around like 11 a.m. I think. I don't know, it's in our other video like exactly what timestamps and stuff, but somewhere around the morning time my water breaks and naturally, which is good. And then that was a really weird feeling and it hurt. It sounded like a big pop, like it was like a balloon or something.
I'm scared.
But you were sleeping. But yeah, so I called a nurse in, I told her this and that, whatever. Fast forward, my contractions were like getting really bad and I could start feeling them no matter how much like I pressed that button. And if you've given birth, you know what I'm talking about. There's a button that you press to like administer more like of the epidural to you, and every time I pressed it I like feel like it didn't really do much for me. So I had this nurse that was not very nice, or I don't know, she just seemed like she didn't really...
The first nurse was like super nice.
Okay, so my first nurse that I had, I'm not gonna name any names, but like she was really, really nice, very sweet, and I felt like very comfortable with her. But my second nurse, so it was like the second day that I was there,
whatever,
yeah, second shift, whatever, she just was not it. Like she was just not, I don't know, she just seemed like very annoyed with me every time I would like ask for something or like tell her something or whatever. Like she always just had like an attitude and I was just like... So then like my dad comes and my sisters, everybody comes and they start, you know, waiting around because at that point I was like 8 centimeters dilated. I'm pretty sure it was like around like nighttime, waiting room, and it was just me and Nate in the room with that one nurse that I did not like. And I don't know, I just really hope like she doesn't treat anyone else like that because that was horrible. So
if you're comfortable.
Yeah, she like, you know, you're supposed to like make your patients feel comfortable, and like she was very rude to me. Like obviously I was in pain and like it was not a good, it was my first time ever giving birth, so I like thought, I don't know, I would have more like support with things, but I just didn't, which is whatever. But so then it came down to like the pushing part, so I ended up being like 10 centimeters dilated. That's when you push. And so I started pushing and it was very slow progression. It was not anything like what you hear, I guess for me, like this is just my experience. I pushed for 3 hours or so. It definitely was like 3 hours. And
where like people you know pushed for how long?
Like 3 pushes. Like,
Yeah,
I know
that's
people
crazy.
who have pushed, like, literally a few pushes and their baby came straight out. Like, that did not happen for me. And
Okay.
I'll kind of get into why. So I'll kind of get into why I feel like that wasn't my case, like the 3 pushes and that's it. I think personally it's because of how big he was. He was a 9-pound baby, like over 9 pounds. So, and like my body is not that big. And he also had shoulder dystocia, which means his shoulder got stuck in my pelvis, so they had to like maneuver him out. It can be very dangerous. We'll put like, can we put like some sort of definition right here?
Diagram or something, yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll put a diagram or like a definition somewhere on the screen so you can like kind of see, but it's like a really rare like thing that happens. I've never really heard or like known anyone who's been through that, so I didn't even know what it was. But basically, like, I pushed for 3 hours. He's just like in a playful mood.
He's just
right now.
smiling over here. You guys can't see.
I pushed for 3 hours, and then Nate stood right by my side the whole time. He
Yes.
held my leg in the same position the whole time because I was in such bad pain, like, that I was like, did not want him to move. So he stood there the whole time holding my one leg.
Yeah.
And oh my god. Then, like, throughout my pushing, I was screaming. It was so bad. Nothing could like mentally prepare you for that. And like for the girls who like do it naturally, like I give you so much props, like truthfully, because that is like the most painful thing I've ever done. And it wasn't even like the contractions that were like so painful. It was the pushing. I felt like my pelvis was like legit breaking. Like every push, like I don't know. I just had to put myself in a different mindset, because if I didn't, like I like literally was going to go crazy. Like my nurse was screaming at me to calm down, and I ended up just having to be like, listen, this is the only way this is gonna happen. I even asked for a C-section many times. I asked for
And
a
they
C-section.
said no, which I don't think you can do.
I don't know, because like I heard that that's like dangerous once the baby like comes through the canal. Like it has to come that way. I don't know the like scientific, I don't know, but I asked for a C-section because it was so bad, and I asked for more medicine. She wouldn't give it to me. She said that she wants me to feel my contractions so that I push with them, and I was like, okay, I understand that, but like I couldn't even push because it was such bad pain. But at that point, like I was pushing through every single contraction because I just wanted to get this baby out. So like I legit was sweating. Like I took my whole shirt off. I was completely naked like the whole time.
Yeah.
I was such in pain that, like, you know when you're such in pain that like you're just sweating. Like I don't know if you've ever been like that, but it was so bad. And then Bobby, what are you doing? He's just listening to me like telling how he came out into this world.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that was basically that for 3 hours straight. Still my doctor hadn't come yet. I was literally about to, like, the baby was about to like crown, and she was like, okay, you're gonna feel the ring of fire. I felt all that.
And they told her to stop pushing into weight.
Oh yeah, so
Which I don't think is
that
like
was
normal.
that was another thing that was like horrible. So I was pushing like on my back, and like I don't know if any girl can relate to this that has like had this happen to them, but like you do not want to be moved. Like you want to just like, you're such in pain, you just want to like just sit there like and just let your body just like, I don't know, like I did not want to be moved, flipped, nothing. So they were telling me to stop pushing because the baby was coming and my doctor was like not here yet. And I was like, bro, are you serious? Like there's no way I can't just like not push, like the baby's coming, you know? And they flipped me onto my side, and Nate had to hold my leg up, and like basically they told me like to stop pushing, and I was like, there's no way. So I just kept pushing because I was like, I'm not holding this baby in, like there's, I don't know. So
Our family seen the doctor like running through the hallways and up the escalator and stuff, and I'm pretty
'Cause
sure
I
they
guess-
could hear her like screaming
Yeah.
through the room. She was like just yelling the whole time. It was so bad.
So I guess like my doctor was at St. P. General, which is like, no, not St. P. General.
Did you say somewhere?
Okay, I don't know. She was somewhere else like doing a C-section or something. That's what I heard. So she was running late to my delivery. So they made me stop pushing. Like that's crazy. I've never heard that before, but anyways, so she ended up coming, and I just remember her face when she walked in the room. She was like, oh my god, like this is a disaster. Like I just remember her being like, oh my god, like getting right into like, you know, everything, and I just was like pushing. By that point, I was pushing so hard and I was so sweaty that every time I would like push, my hands would just keep slipping and slipping, and so I couldn't get a good grip. And they were like, just push, push, but whatever. So I don't want to get too into it because it's like kind of graphic, but yeah. So then the baby came and I went to go grab him, I remember, and there was like, next thing I know, like 18 doctors in the room, and I don't know. Do you want to tell that part? Because I was kind of out of it.
From my point of view, when he was about to come out, they asked if I wanted to cut the umbilical cord and stuff, and of course I said yes. But when he started to come out, I noticed he was like purple or like really dark, and I knew.
But like usually babies are, so.
Well, I don't know. I never had one. So he was like super like dark and purple, and I was like, that's kind of weird. So then they were like yelling and stuff, and all these doctors and nurses came in, and they basically like made me back up and like get away. And then they grabbed him, and you know, usually you do skin to skin and stuff, but we weren't able to do that. They grabbed him and they started yelling all these words, saying like the shoulder dystocia and stuff. And I guess obviously it's like we said, like dangerous in a lot of cases. So then they gave him to like these certain doctors and nurses and stuff. I was watching him the whole time, and the second I looked to like check on her, someone cuts his umbilical cord. So I wasn't able to experience that with my first kid, and like I never will again, because I can never have a first kid. So that like really sucked for me, and I was super scared. Like I was praying the whole time because he wasn't really like moving or crying, you know, when they come out.
He just wasn't like responsive.
Yeah,
in, like the first few
couple minutes
yeah.
and stuff. They had to, I don't know how to explain it, but they were like obviously like getting air into him and stuff,
like
and
basically doing everything that they could to like, I don't want to say revive him, but like kind of like, I don't know the terms. Like I said, I just remember being like, what's going on? Like I was so out of it though, because I was so like in pain, and just like, I mean, nothing can like describe what happened in that room to me. There was like blood all over the place. There was just like, it looked like a crime scene. I was like just out in the open, and there was like 20 people in the room yelling at each other, and like it was just super like crazy. And like as all this is happening, I'm getting stitched up. They're trying to get the placenta out of me. That's a whole nother thing that I'll get into. And then then I finally hear a cry, and I was like so relieved. And I hadn't seen him yet. I hadn't seen his face. I didn't touch him. I didn't see nothing.
Yeah, so it didn't go like how it normally should.
No, it definitely was not how it should have been. But like at the end of the day, like at least he's okay now, and like, you know.
Yeah.
But and then as soon as that happened, Nate, I remember he walked over and he's like, "Do you want to see him?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he showed me a picture, and that was the first thing I saw of him, like, was just a picture. And he was over there at that point still, like, in the little, like, whatever it's called.
He keeps hitting, like, he learned that now.
Yeah. So then a nurse comes over, and she's saying she's going to take him to the NICU. And I was just like, okay, like, obviously I was really upset, but she brought him over to me, and I didn't even get skin to skin, nothing. They just, like, showed me his face, and I kissed him, I just remember, and then, like, that was it. He left, and then, so then after that happened, Nate went up with him to the NICU, so I'm by myself with like now like 2 nurses and my doctor, and they're trying to get my placenta out. So I don't know if you guys know, but like after the baby gets out, the placenta is supposed to come out after a certain amount of time, because now it's becoming toxic to your body. This is what the doctor told me. So they're trying everything. I'm trying to like deliver the placenta. Not a lot of people, I feel like, talk about delivering placentas, but that's like a part of delivery is deliver. I didn't even really know about that until like not that long ago. No, not that long ago, like about delivering your placenta. But anyway, so it wasn't coming out, so my doctor had to literally like put her whole hand up there and scrape it out of me. And I just remember that was like the most painful, not painful because birth was the most painful, but that was like the second most painful, weirdest feeling I've ever felt in my life. And it's like one thing after another, just like I couldn't catch a break. I wanted to be left alone because I was just like so tired at that point. It had been like 3 hours from the time I started pushing to now. So it was 3 hours of me pushing, and then 2 hours of them, like from the time he was born to the time that I like was done like with everything. After the cleanups, they had to like, you know, clean up the room and clean me up because I was super bloody. It was just horrible. And then I remember my I texted my sister right after Zay was born, and from the time I texted her until she came to the room, it was 2 hours. That's how I know it was like, it just, time was just flying, and it was just insane. And then, so yeah, they get the placenta out of me, they stitch me up, I felt everything, all the stitches, everything. They try to give me like, anesthetic, I think that's what it is. Not anesthesia. They gave me anesthetic down there, but like I still felt like the stitches. So then my family came in. It was my best friend and my dad and my sister, and I just remember them looking at me like, oh my god, Joelle, like you look like. My face was super puffy. My makeup was running because I had some mascara on. My makeup was running. My hair was crazy. I was sweating. It was horrible. And not on top of that, like I didn't even get to see my son. Like it was a horrible experience, honestly. It really was. But I mean, at least he's okay now. That I just like hope the next one isn't this bad, you know?
Yeah.
So then it was 2:06 when he was born, so now it's like around 4 or 5, and we finally get to go to the postpartum care room, and obviously he was in the NICU now, so we get a couple hours of sleep, and then the next day we finally officially get to meet him up in like, because he was like in the second floor or the floor above us or something like that. And yeah, he stayed in there for like 4 days to check his shoulder, and then his like blood sugar was like kind of off, so they were just making sure he was okay. That was really hard because we got to go home before him, and like coming home without your baby is like one of the worst feelings. I was crying all the time. We like were always at the hospital because we wanted to be with him, but we also had to come home at some point to sleep, so it was just like we got to stay at the hospital for what, like
4 days,
like 3 days.
But then they moved him to the NICU, and
no, he was in the NICU, and then he got his own room in the NICU.
Yeah.
So he's always in the NICU, but he got like his own private room. So there was like a chair in there, and we got to like feed him, change his diaper, like all that stuff. Like anytime, you can come at any time, but like still it wasn't the same as bringing him home. But once we brought him home, it was like the best feeling ever, like to be home with him finally.
Like the feeling you get when you first see your kid, I feel like everyone's will be different, but when I first seen him, I was like, I don't know, I got this weird like protection thing, and I was like, oh, like I'd hurt anybody in the room for him, like, and I was just like obviously not trying to keep my eye off him and stuff, and you just feel, I mean, I hope you feel that same love like whenever you guys have yours, if you plan to have them. Like, you know, a lot of people before when they get pregnant, they're like scared, and obviously they don't want to do it, and they're like, oh, we're not ready. We weren't obviously like ready. Stuff just happens.
Yeah.
And I promise it's not as bad as people think. Like, especially, I mean, she might get into that, but especially if you breastfeed and stuff, we've bought like one box of Pampers or whatever, or not Pampers, a baby wipe so far.
Yeah.
We bought them from Sam's Club, or if you guys have Sam's Club, Costco, if you go get them in bulk, you could get a big box for like $20. Like, he's 3 months and we haven't had to buy him anything yet, unless you want to go buy. Like, you'll get a lot of stuff from the baby shower if you have friends and family, but unless you guys go out and buy like extra clothes or something, we haven't needed to. Yeah,
unless you want to, but everyone is different, so I pray that you, if you are pregnant or planning to be, I hope your pregnancy and your delivery is way better than mine, but you know, at least we have a cute baby out of it. But yeah, so for breastfeeding, I'm still 100% breastfeeding him, which is a blessing to do. He's very big.
Yeah, he's super big and healthy. Like,
he's 16 pounds, and
he's
like
been gaining so much weight.
He's got to be more than 16 now.
Yeah.
He's just staring at the ring.
And I don't know if that's another story. There was a time where he had, I forget what it's called, but he was throwing up a lot and stuff, and he lost weight. So I feel like if that didn't happen, he would weigh even more than that.
Yeah, so that was a whole nother thing. So like he basically had I forget what it's called.
If we find out, we'll put it on the screen.
Yeah, we'll put it on the screen for you guys, but it's also another rare thing that happens. I don't know why this stuff keeps happening to us, but hopefully, like, fingers crossed that this is it for us. But he basically had like a problem with like his stomach had like it was like very thick lining, so like the food or the milk, like every time it would go down it would like collect and it would just make him throw up. So they basically just went in like with an incision in his belly button, and then like they just opened the hole so that the food or the milk can go down. And yeah, that was very hard. We were in the hospital for like 2 days because of that, and I just felt like we couldn't get a break. Like honestly, it was just really, really frustrating and hard, and a lot of emotions, especially with postpartum and stuff like that. Like, it was just crazy. And then on top of that, my, like, I'm still having pain from birth because of how bad the situation was. Like, I think because of how big he was and all that. So I have to go to physical therapy now for that. I thought he originally, like, fractured my pelvis, but thank God it wasn't that. I had to get, like, x-rays done, and now I'm going to physical therapy, like, once a week. I think that's really like the gist of everything. Obviously that's just like a very like summarized version of everything, but I don't know. Like, I would say the biggest thing, like if you're pregnant, like wait to get the epidural if you're gonna get the epidural. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but like this is just my advice. I would just wait. My friend told me to wait, but like I thought it was so bad that I just got it. So yeah, I would wait. Also, I was talking about the C-section part. So basically they say that after you have a shoulder dystocia baby, you have a 1 in 10 chance of getting that happening again to you or the baby. So they opt for you to get a C-section. So that's just something that I'm going to have to deal with down the line if I want or when I want another kid. But I really don't want to have C-section. But I mean, if it's in the best interest of me and the baby, like obviously I'm gonna have to do what I have to do, but I don't know, that's gonna be a whole different like what's it called? Recovery.
Yeah.
Because the recovery on that is way worse than a vaginal C-section or vaginal delivery.
I don't know,
How do you feel about having a son?
Oh, that was my #1 thing. Obviously, I feel like every man wants to carry on like the legacy in his family and stuff, and I was the last one that was able to do that. So I'm glad I got to do that because now it's on him, and hopefully we have more, you know, sons and daughters down the road. But
yeah, so like we really knew he was a boy from the beginning. Like,
I had a dream about it, and
yeah,
I couldn't see his face,
too.
but I could see like his foot, and I knew he was a boy. It was really weird.
Yeah, we were calling him his name before we knew he was a boy. So Nate actually picked his name out, and his middle name is Nate's middle name. So he's like basically from you. Like
Yeah,
his whole name
for
is.
letting me do that.
Yeah, his
That's
whole
right.
name is from you. I kind of want to do that because like it's our first son, and if he wasn't gonna have Nate's name, I at least wanted him to pick. But yeah, so we knew he was gonna be a boy the whole time. I really wanted a boy. I know in the videos, like if you've seen my gender reveal, I was wearing pink shoes because he made me wear pink shoes. I didn't really want a girl. Now I want a girl, but I've always wanted a boy. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I felt like he was a boy, so I kind of was attached to the feeling of him being a boy, but yeah, I don't know. From like day one, I just knew he was a boy, and I was really excited. And yeah, the gender reveal is like the best. Like I want our gender reveal next time to be more intimate though, like just me and you finding out.
Yeah.
But that was really fun. Like the gender reveal, the baby shower, like that. I miss all that part of pregnancy, but I don't miss actually being pregnant. That was so hard.
Yeah, it is the
He
best
knows.
feeling though. Obviously, you have something to look forward to every day. You are going to be busy.
No sleep.
Yeah, the sleep, like everyone says, is crazy. I guess some people get lucky and the baby sleep, but he doesn't. Like, he's just
Yeah.
constantly awake. Or when he does sleep, that's when you get your time to do what you need to do. So it's not like you can really get a rest unless you
I
have
know.
nothing to do.
They
like,
always say sleep when the baby sleeps, but like we
That's
have
when
stuff
you-
to do. Like
that's when you clean or
yeah, that's when you
whatever.
clean. We have work to do. Like we basically work from home. Like we do a lot of different things. Like I manage Airbnbs. He has his own business, like with shoes and car and whatever. So like we're all, and then now we do this sometimes. So it's like we're constantly doing stuff. That's why we haven't posted anything because we're so busy. And like when we do have the time, like we're doing other things. So it's been very hard. Like we're still trying to like adapt to having a newborn or a baby. I don't think he's a newborn anymore, but a 3-month-old basically. So yeah, but everything has been going pretty good. after a surgery, like he's been doing really good, so we're just trying to enjoy all the little moments. And then also, if any girls have any questions, I've had like quite a few girls actually reach out to me, like I said, about pregnancy or like birth or whatever. Like if you have any questions, like if I can help you, like I would love to. So if you do, like you can always DM me. I've had some girls like Snapchat me, like messages on Snapchat, or like if you have my number or on Instagram or anything like that. So if you ever have any questions, just feel free to like reach out.
So that's all for the video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, comment what you want us to do next. Comment if you have any questions, whether that pertains to me or her, and we'll definitely answer them as soon as possible. We're going to try to post another video right after this one, so go tune into that too, and we'll see you next time.